Greetings, Internet. I'm here in the darkness because I want to show you my workroom. This is the room where I'm going to be filming the majority of my videos. I'm in a tight space, kind of in a corner here, which is why you can't see anything. But this is a place. It is a place of general darkness, because this place of general darkness kind of represents my life. This is 8:53 in the morning. This is darkness. The darkness of an unlit room. Part of my life. Not unlike what I will come to every morning after work, where I put on this uniform, place my life in a reasonable level of jeopardy, and try to do a job where I'm unappreciated. So what's my point? Point number one, every day I don't make a video, I'm pretty much saying I like my job. And whereas I like what I do, I don't necessarily like where I do it or the conditions I'm placed under. And let's face it, it doesn't pay well. So this is the tour of my workroom. I've just made some upgrades. They cost me around $300, which isn't much. But I hope you enjoy it. As I step somewhere into the light here, I'd like to show you the first alteration to my workroom. My wall of Derelict technology. For those of you that have seen it before, it's a lot more full than it once was. All the things that were here before are now compact. More things are added. And over on this side, the first book of my 5,000 project that I've decided to keep, which is Cosmos. Here you have some old DVDs, things of that nature. An old monitor that I'll never use again. And interestingly, here, this is paper. It's the paper I use for my comics more specifically. And my plan is to use all that up, then make a decision whether I should go digital or stick with hand-drawn. It'll depend on what my comics are doing at the time. But I like to use images often as the thumbnails for my videos to illustrate my points. But if you see here what I mean by technology, well, these are actually hand models that I use in my drawing, or did use in my drawing, and may use again. For the moment they're kind of derelict. But then you have this surface heater, which I don't even think works, and my old computer speakers. This is part of a drafting line that was broken. Over on this side, these are my old 8mm tapes. And here is an old 8mm reel. VCR, an old disc player, an old tape player, an old printer, my collection of Robotech VHS, which probably aren't good anymore, an old computer that my brother used to use before he was finally convinced to buy something a little more modern. This power supply, I believe, not sure, but because it's made in Thailand and not China, I think it comes from a computer my sister bought back in her senior year of high school and tried to pretend that she built it to fulfill her senior project. It was the world's biggest lie, and she got through with it. That's the thing about this wall of derelict technology. I've built it to become the background of my videos, but I've also built it to represent me, my struggle through life, and my alterations. How I change things will depend on how this wall changes. And how this wall changes will depend on my progress. As I find books I want to keep, as I review them, I add more books to this. And I have put every book that I haven't reviewed back on my to-be-read list. It's a lot of books. That's why it's called the 5,000 Project. But more on that in another video. Down a little further on my wall, my graveyard of derelict technology has, of course, a lot of derelict technology. Mostly computer parts here. A watch, an old microphone, part to a two-way radio. To my left here, you actually see a lot of military ammo cans. Considered derelict to me because I'm not doing anything with them. But I'd actually like to put designs on them before I consider them in use. This here is actually the bezel, the instrument panel from an old Saturn. I purchased it to try and keep another old Saturn alive and never put it in. Probably one of the dumbest decisions of my life. But primarily here you have boxes and such. A little lower you have the remains of a sound system that was a great source of frustration in my life. If I ever get around to removing that, I'm going to get to tell that story. So, here's hoping. To my right here, you can't see that there are more ammo cans. I have a lot of those. I have something of a collection. But this is all newspaper. Old newspaper. Newspaper I want to use as painting tarp for my work. Derelict now because I haven't actually painted it in quite some time. But hopefully I'll get to it. Hopefully. But that's the thing about this wall of derelict technology. Everything that leaves here should leave here with some fanfare. It should be noted. And everything that is placed here should be placed here with some fanfare. It should be noted. That's the world I live in at the moment. Trying to make peace with my past. That's who I am. This is my primary workstation. Thor. Sporting a dual screen array, 2 printers, secondary backup T30 laptop so it can get laughed at by the supercomputer. It, in tradition, has more power than every other computer I have ever purchased put together. AMD Octa-Core 3.2. Now yes, that has been long surpassed because this computer is a few years old, but trust me, it can render like a champion. I've actually learned to really like this machine, but just had to spend about maybe $250 on computer upgrades because, well, solid-state hard drives have come a long way in the last couple of years. So I wanted one that was bigger and maybe a little bit faster. Because, yeah, my computer has a 32 gigabyte memory, and I'd like to be able to download all of that in one swipe. Which I don't think is actually possible because the camera will shut off before it downloads that much. But this is where I do all my video editing. It's pretty much the heart of my work here. Every one of my comics gets inputted into the computer through this unit, through my Epson scanner behind me. This is not my only workstation, it's just my primary workstation. It sits on a desk I custom built myself. I like to have a lot of power, more power than I actually need. Unfortunately, it turns out that I really do need this much power. I wish I had money for a better computer. But I still love you, Thor. Now only if I can do this in the dark it would actually look cool. Yeah, okay. This is the shelf above my computer. Up in this direction you can see the remains of my own sound system that brings back painful memories and I should really take down. Over here, this is a music award. like this and like that, all for playing the accordion, because, you know, someone had to think of the lamest thing in the world for me to do, and that was what they figured, playing the accordion. Over here, photojournalism award, just like that one, and well, this is a photojournalism award too. Only these two are for the accordion. And then this one, oddly, sports, water polo, which is what this is a picture of. This here, this is my Student of the Year award for my senior year in high school. And then here, that's my thespian certificate, because thespians were a thing. You can hear that's an award I got for being a stagehand, because I never got an award for being on stage because I suck. This is another award I got for academic theater, because I academicked and I theatered. Yeah, right. Okay, that makes no sense. So also on the shelf, you can see I've got some samples here. This one I believe is coal, or perhaps sap. That's bloody hair from when I was injured. That's metal from a sink. This is metal from a machine shop I worked in that actually made pieces for the space shuttle and the International Space Station and all kinds of cool stuff like that. I securityed there. And these are insects that I've preserved. That's a little wind-up robot I thought was cool. That's an android robot I thought was cool that showed up at my work one day and nobody claimed. And then this is a old Chinese dragon incense burner because it's cool. Oh, I'm such a boring human being. Down here we have some computer programs, language learning software. Yes. Some more computer programs that I never play because they're games. I'm too old for that shit. Right. That's the corner. This is a closet. Yes, that's all it really is. Just a closet. I tried at one time to make this into a sort of a playing space for videos with this piece of cloth here, but it never did work out. So I just store stuff in here. I do have a metal frame organizer, some art supplies here, got my paint down there, my label makers. And of all the things that are interesting in this environment, this is my collection of comics that I've drawn. Not much of one, but I believe we're up to something around 120 pages now. I collect every comic in this book. Every one of them is a page, which I refer to as a plate, containing normally multiple comics for multiple different projects. The center image here you can see is a Johnny American because it's larger. I don't know if you can really see that. But with this particular one, you've got 3 random street theaters and then a picture I drew for a book review. So that's just how I kind of organize my things. And then in this closet there are actually a number of the comic pages that I drew before I started this new format. And eventually they get put into the white book like everything else, because I have what I call my ACN, or art catalog number. Hopefully one day I will catalog every piece of art I create. Yeah, closet. Right. Here we have my workstation 2, complete with kitty. What are you doing? No, don't go away. I guess Sneak there doesn't like his 5 minutes of fame. Well, ain't that a kick in the teeth? What you see here, another dual screen array, drafting lights, my second laptop, This is built around my old Area 51 Pentium 4, I believe, 3.2, single core, ancient piece of technology, human artifact now. In fact, it's so old it's not terribly reliable. But this is my drafting desk. This is where I do most of my drawings. I also use this particularly for scanning in labels, like this one here, when I do product reviews. It's not much to look at. I mean, I can't live without a dual screen array. Interestingly enough, I hope to use this computer here as a teleprompter. So set it up next to my computer on this stand and, you know, write down text and have it automatically teleprompt me to say things that are hopefully less stupid than the things I normally say, because if you've seen my videos, you know how dumb they are. Yeah. Well, moving on. And this is me being fat. I mean, it's the ceiling. Right. Well, it is me being fat, but when aren't I doing that? In any case, this lighting fixture you see up here was actually installed after my mother passed away. Yeah, they did a terrible job. And it was falling apart because that was 25 years ago. And I noticed that I just wasn't getting enough light with it. So I switched it for this four bulb unit. You notice it's white when the rest of the fixture is a brass color. Yeah, well, it gave me so much light I actually had to install a lens hood on my camera to filter it out. Of course, now I'm shooting with a camera light, which was a lot cheaper than getting this fixed. But hopefully now my workroom is an awesome room designed to give me lots and lots of videos so that no one can watch them. I'm going to turn that light on so you can see. Bright, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I think there's even some lens flare in there. Can't really tell on the monitor. So here's something you didn't think you'd see in a room tour video. Me being fat. I mean the floor. Yes, things look actually really different here from the floor. What you can see by my left shoulder here is the remote that lets me focus my device while I'm away from it. And you can probably notice this floor here is kind of dirty. That's because I live with my brother, and he's a little on the odd side, and well, vacuums bother him. He's kind of like a big cat in that regard. And I bet I'm really breathing loud at the moment. Anyway, the floor here is actually going to be kind of important, because one of the things I'm going to need to demonstrate throughout some of my videos is stretching. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to stretch something across this floor first. Probably a blanket, because buying a mat big enough to fit my ridiculously pudgy self is going to be difficult. And that concludes my room tour. I hope you had fun, because, well, it's actually really uncomfortable trying to be this fat and look at the camera. Getting really self-conscious here. Just remember, most of us common people share something with the floor. We're always getting stepped on.